Hello everybody, welcome back. We're just back for a quick overview of the Soaring Dragon Nanocore on the Phoenix Bodyguard. I have managed to finally get one, and so I just wanted to kind of go over its statistics, what you can do with the colorations, what the Nanocore actually does for you, and maybe some of the drawbacks. So here it is in the hangar. Really hard to see because it's hard to zoom out in the hangar. Kind of cool. I will be swapping away from this animation. Um, Unfortunately, I wish I could turn off the dragon itself, but that does not work for the actual player. It only works for other players. It's got this really nice, like, lightning effect as it goes around. So, pretty cool. Definitely cool. Let's go ahead and get into the Nanocore itself. I have barely done anything with it, um, so we're just kind of having a look. Your first option here is going to be the Nanocore Soaring Dragon activatable mode. The second option here is missile torpedo damage, and the third option is 24% shield. Once this Nanocore actually gets a gold Nanocore option, your best selection would probably be the Soaring Dragon activation and the missiles. The extra shield is nice, but it's not necessary. Your first attribute upgrade here, you get the option of up to 9.75% shield, up to 9.3% inertia modifier, or up to 9.3% scan resolution. Tank is going to be better for me, so I have gone with shield. I'll have to fix that in a minute. I meant to keep that explosive. Oh well. The second attribute upgrade, you have the option of the various types of damage for missiles on the Phoenix Bodyguard, up to 14%. I am going to choose explosive damage or thermal damage. Explosive is so I can do more damage in the dormant realm. Thermal for pretty much everything else. The third attribute upgrade, you have the option of up to 12% shield, up to 11.1% explosion velocity, up to 12% capacitor, or up to 22.2% close-in defense gun optimal range. That's pretty nice, but I don't see it being as useful as like the explosion velocity for your missiles. If it was tracking, that would have been like crazy. Okay, your fourth attribute upgrade is 9.6% missile torpedo damage, 11.1% explosion velocity, or 11.1% flight velocity. I'm thinking that the best options of these sort of damage or application ones is going to be the application for torpedoes and cruise missiles, or damage for the barreled weapons. You can still go with the application on the barreled weapons. And that would help you apply to much smaller ships that are faster moving than your average AI ship. So definitely something to consider. What are we on? 5? Your 5th attribute upgrade has missile torpedo flight velocity up to 12.3%. Shield boost amount up to 13.5%. And then you have the option of up to 21.6% close-in defense gun damage. That is awesome. If he can roll for that 21% range or 20% range on the close-in defense weapon gun damage, that is awesome. When this thing starts spooling up and it gets up to that 137 tracking, you're gonna have like 4,000 DPS before this is even considered. I think it goes up to like 5,100 or 5,000 DPS on just that one gun if you have that 21% increase in damage. Really awesome. And the 6th attribute upgrade is once again all of the missile damage type increases. This time it has up to 19% rather than the 14% from earlier. So yeah, really quite a damage-focused nanocore for these bodyguards. This is also a really good nanocore for the versatile assault ships. So one of the main downsides, like I said, you cannot upgrade to a intelligent nanocore. So it is kind of stuck there, unfortunately. Let's go to the appearance. There is a free customization for the first time. This first one is all of these little in-between colors. Let me make it like a blue, and you can see here that as we go through, all of that changes. I actually kind of really like the gold coloration on it. I also really like the darker color. Okay, this next one is kind of this mid-back section. It really doesn't do a whole lot, like, in comparison, because it's more of a secondary tint to the base color and pattern. So, yeah. Like I said, I do kind of like the gold coloration on it. It's kind of nice. The third one, can't really tell what it is. It's the front half. Okay, here we go. So you can see here the front half is now changing colors. The fourth one is the dragon itself. And unfortunately, you actually cannot. Well, it should have been the dragon. Where is it? No, it's this weird front glow. Okay. It's the pattern on the front. You can see how it gets a little darker as I go. So you have two front section colors to mess with. The last one is the dragon itself. You can see here the color changes as you go. If you upgrade to the next client, you can actually go and change all these colors. I really especially like this dark bluish purple. It kind of reminds me of Aurelian Soul from League of Legends. Really kind of a cool design. I'm sure he's based on something else, but really cool. You get a couple of these colors, like the standard coloration that has this orange and yellow. You got this bright pink that's actually really cool. That purple blue coloration, light blue. So good. It's like neon green. And it kind of changes the opacity of everything here. And if you really wanted to go all out, here's a bright white one. Really cool. We're just going to go back to the standard coloration for me for a moment. You do have the option of going back to the original coloration, which I actually really prefer over the Soaring Dragon coloration. I think the Soaring Dragon is a little too plain, but the pattern on the ship here with the standard color is so good. It's just way too good. Alright, so let's go ahead and undock real quick, because we still can.
Undocking.
And we'll go through the stats of the attribute activatable mode. This Soaring Dragon around here, like, kills FPS. I really don't like it. So once they give me the option to remove the dragon itself from the model, I will probably do so, or hopefully they will have optimized the dragon itself with the next version of the client. Alright, so this is your mode. Soaring Dragon Nanocore mode. It gives you 3%, ignoring all resistance attributes. So if you have someone with 99% resistance, they're now at 96% resistance. If you want to figure out how to kill someone quickly, you get a bunch of these, and they will just shred someone through their, damage control. Hello, Jenner, good to see you. So the next attribute that it gives is turret DPS, missile DPS, drone DPS, capital close-in defense gun damage, 15%, disruptive lance damage, 15%. That's a lot. That is definitely a lot of DPS that is increased. The weapon disruption resistance is 95% increase while active. Capacitor warfare resistance is also increased by 95% while active. And then it makes it so your capacitor pretty much cannot recharge while it is active. It slows it down by 1,000%. So be aware that during its 30% or 30-second activation, your capacitor will suffer for it, for the recharge time. It activates for 30 seconds, and then it goes on cooldown for 300 seconds. So if you need it, it is going to be a last-ditch effort. I'm not sure how I feel about a 300-second cooldown, just to have these stats. You might find that 30 seconds gives you enough time to, like, heal while you have a damage control active. I don't know. But, it is pretty much the only Nanocore available for the Bodyguards, so I will be getting 3 of them eventually. It's probably going to be another week or 2 before I can get my hands on the other 2. And that's really it. It looks great. It really does. Wonder if I can get a better screenshot there. Yeah, that's better. So let me know what you think. You think it's pretty cool? Do you think it's not worth your time? It's certainly expensive, I'll tell you that much. In order to get your hands on one of these, at least one of these nanocores, I had to buy the 60 crates for the Bodyguard itself. I had to finish the Soaring Dragon event for the first few weeks. I think we're on week 2 now. So yeah, had to finish that. So it'll be finishing up in a day and 4 hours, which means it took the entirety of the Dragon Stride event to do. And then I also had to buy another 28 boxes of whatever I felt like to get the rest of the points. So definitely expensive. And I am debating whether or not I swap out the Nanocore activation for something else, because 30 seconds is not enough time to actually get enough bonus for me. So I may end up choosing to go with shield percent or damage. Damage would be nice, because these ships are relegated to sort of a dormant realm slash high-sec event missions, since soon they will no longer be able to undock from Gina. I also want to do a quick update on kind of what I'm sitting on for defense. This is my defense currently with the Soaring Dragon activated, and I actually want to go and swap out the
Docking request accepted.
And swap out the skill here, because like I said, it's not really worth my time having these bonuses. I already am sitting on a pretty high amount of resistance to capacitor warfare and weapon disruption, so I don't really need this. I'm gonna go ahead and choose shield. Like I said, the 19% missile torpedo damage would be nice, but it's not necessary for my goals. Yeah, it really does seem very situational. It's as far as I can tell, it's really a activate it on first encounter to try to get away, or activate it as a last ditch effort to try to survive whatever's going on long enough to get help. I don't see it being regularly activated, unlike the previous Nanocore we had. What was that one called? I put it on my Marshall. I can't remember the name of it. So I have 832,000 hit points there for my shield, with two adaptives active, and the damage control sitting passively. We have 6 million EHP. Not bad, but not great by any means. I could definitely run more tank and less like capacitor and healing. I am running a EM screen reinforcer, so that is buffing my resistance quite a bit, so I can plug that resistance hole that this thing has on the electromagnetic. If I activate the damage control, we go up to 13 million EHP with 93, 92, 93, and 94% resistance on the shield. All the meanwhile, I can get a increased shield healing amount. I get 47,000 shield boost per. So, capacitor, and I can activate this about 4 to 6 times before I start needing to use my actual capacitor. So now it will start using capacitor. And that is kind of the tank situation I'm working with. If I activate longbow, I lose my healing amount, so I need to be careful not to actually turn that on. I do go up to 10,295 DPS while the longbow is active, so it's something I need to be aware of, and the DPS will go up the longer that this hail anti-ship fleet close-in defense gun is on a target. This goes up to about 4,400 DPS on its own, the longer it stays on a single target without having to change targets. So yeah, that's really all I wanted to cover today. It was the first instance I had my hands on this Nanocore, and it is
Docking
kind of
request
going
accepted.
away at the end of this month. This event ends on February 26th. So you have a little over 23 days left to try to get your hands on it if you want it. Thank you all so much for joining me, and have a good one.